I'll play my games. Go ahead, do you? 'Cause I'll do the same, and I know we'll bloom. Cherry blossom flames, tracing skin, we're making shapes, and no one can replicate us. Yeah, winter came, still you blew me away with a heat that saturates, butter melting on your plate. Don't need to complicate a simplistic state of two honeys in a tray. Boy, you know you make my day. You can be hard to find, still so am I. A chasing game we do got me in a state of mind, on a cherry high from making shapes with you. Don't worry if it's sharp, don't worry if it's hard, it's all we ever do. You can be hard to find, still so am I, from making shapes with you.
Out to get it, so we hit them with the tech, 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 tech. Out to get it, so we hit them with the tech, tech, tech.
No lights, the dark entertainer. Towers been popped, dissipating the laser. We can blow sparks enough art to blaze up. Listen up, we can put a tunnel on this danger. No lights, the dark entertainer. Towers been popped, dissipating the laser. We can blow sparks enough art to blaze up. Listen up.
Yo, from the cradle to the urn. They tried to tell me exercise, but patience wait my turn. Fake concern when these pagans finna learn. What a journey. Paradigm shift, our people about to watch it burn. Man, a renegade. Vagrant to the core. Pollution at its peak. Watch the stage and settle scores. Extinction level 20. Fuck a penny for your thoughts. For the many, not the few. 4% a thing of law. change, evolution is solution. Greed, power, money, nothing more than an illusion. Delusion took its toll. Banks made the bed. Balance brought a shame. Seven laid ahead. Politics ate itself. The people came to live. We're looking.
Thank you for flying BPM Airlines Flight 150 service direct to the Shadow Lounge. The captain has turned off the seatbelt sign and encourages you to get up and dance about the cabin. Grab a drink and get your hands in the air because here's your host, Shadow King.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Space Bar. My name is Shadowkin. Actually, this is the Space Bar. I was starting to read Shadow Lounge and then I almost said Space. Whatever. Welcome to the Space Bar with my awesome co-host, Mr. Victor. How are we doing tonight, sir?
Team, what's going on? Great to see everybody.
Yeah, Space Asteroid. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Actually, messaged me earlier. He's like, "Hey, you streaming tonight?" That's right. Yes, we were supposed to have Buster Destroyer on tonight, but Buster Airlines Flight 187 has yet to come on radar, so we're not sure. Maybe she's just had some hang up. But
we're gonna keep our eyes peeled and refresh radar. So.
We've got the landing pit landing. What is it, skid? The water's lit. Still.
Buster Airlines 187, you are cleared for pushback and taxi to runway 27 left, hold short for further instructions.
He hasn't even taken off yet. No, so yeah, we've got it ready where if she decides to drop in. But no, we're gonna do the show anyway because that's what we do. We've got some pretty cool Star Citizen content lined up tonight. We've got maybe some gameplay. We haven't played weeks. I don't even remember.
That would be a thought.
That'd be a thought. Hey, play the game.
Idea. Yeah.
Could do that. Hey, we can ask him.
Hey, we can play.
So yeah, but yeah, we're gonna go through some sources and news. Take your questions, of course, by all means. Any questions anyone has for the Indomitable cast, please hang us up. We love it.
See, general rule of thumb: there is no ISC this week as they are on hiatus, but there was Star Citizen Live,
in which we can do watch the Nubifier version of.
We absolutely could get Nubified.
Yes, we could watch the short and easy version. I had a terrible week, but we're here. We made it. We made it through the whole thing. How was your Space Asteroid?
How'd you do, Space?
Yeah, how'd you make out? By the way, everyone, I have started to put all of the space bars onto YouTube for replay. Unfortunately, we lost the two best ones so far. The one with hearts and the one with Mr. Drew. That's okay. We're just gonna have to bring him back. Have to bring him back. New puppy. All right, that's always a good week. That is definitely always a good week.
Pictures in Discord.
Yeah, pictures in Discord.
Let's see this puppers.
Yep, put them in Animals Rock. So yeah, but I've started to put those on. I've actually given them season identifiers too, so you can actually start to go through them again. There's a couple of old ones on there from they're just really old, so kind of fun to watch for posterity's sake. Is it you and I, or is it Shadow Lounge back in the day? It's all the way back. There's one from when Hangry Sarah was a guest. There's one from when The Few was a guest. There's one when there's another one when The Few was the guest, which actually I think is a duplicate. Yep. That shouldn't be in there. Okay, there we go. We've got drinks, IAE, taco, drinks, and lots of giveaways. So, there's a couple of ones. Oh, we got the Burks one in there. Okay, cool. Yeah, we had the Berks one
Good.
in there. That's cool.
Good
That's
Berks.
cool. Yeah, so got some old ones in there for posterity. Thanksgiving, Corsair.
Can't
Oh, we
say.
have Corsairs in there. That's never a bad one.
I remember Thanksgiving. I don't remember Berks, but
Yeah, Berks was on. Yeah. So anyway, we got some old ones in there. So they're on the Shadow Lounge, or I'm sorry, the Shadow, the playlist. If you do, I think you do. I think you do. Exclamation point YouTube. Maybe not. Exclamation playlist. There you go.
there it is. There it
Playlist
is.
will take you to actually all the playlists I have, but one of them is called the Spacebar. So if you guys ever miss one, they're all going to be there. They're going to be there forever now, forever. So we will start exporting those. So looking forward to that. You know, grow some real content, right? But looking forward to any comments or hilarious feedback on those, because that's the point, right? That's why we do this. So to get your unbelievable feedback. All right, so
doing
let's
this for you.
doing the thing.
We're doing all the
Do
things,
the-
chat.
Do the fire. Here, let's do what was the name of the Star Citizen video? I'm not sure you made a video of it yet.
It's a Numifier. It's usually done like 8 minutes after the show wraps.
I know.
Guys, so he's good.
Wait, you only did a 1 minute and 2 second? That can't be right.
He knocks it down.
That's really short.
I mean, he knows what he's doing by now.
Or
got
that,
other
or there
things
just
to work
wasn't. That, or there just wasn't enough content in it.
Well, they were talking about game production today, so it was production
pretty slow?
in 1 minute and 2 seconds.
Hey, Execute, how's it going, my friend?
Execute,
Yes. I'll be there volunteering, and Victoria will be there VIP with a number of other people.
Actually, are you
Or
going?
VIP, or they're called premium ticket, whatever. Premium VIP, whatever.
Premium
A
VIP.
good
yeah.
ticket.
Well, they're all good tickets.
They're all
They're
good
all
tickets. That's
good.
right.
They're all good
Execute.
tickets.
You gonna make the trip across the pond? Be good to see you. Be good to finally meet you. Look at it this way. We're gonna meet you halfway. Sort of halfway. Sort of halfway. I wish you could afford him literally the last stop before Antarctica. Oh my God,
Yeah.
you're right. You are.
Actually, you're Tasmania, right?
Yeah, he's way down
yeah.
there. Dang. You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll make a call. We'll talk to Chris. We'll get him to move it to Australia. How about it? I bet you I can get Corsair to help out with that one.
Chad, I'm just gonna leave. I'm gonna step out on this one.
Hey, CitizenCon Singapore? How about Singapore? Can you make Singapore? I can do Singapore.
CitizenCon Seoul.
be a world
CitizenCon Canberra?
Hawaii?
Canberra?
Canberra.
Canberra? I was in the ballpark, jeez.
Most likely. I'll most likely be going to Manchester. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah,
Canberra.
Canberra.
Thank you,
Not
Exit.
Canberra. There's no beer.
It's
Well, there
only
is plenty
fair.
of beer there.
It's only fair. He tells me how to say it correctly, and the U.S. gives Australia submarines. So it's okay. It's a fair trade.
It works. I mean,
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
it works. Thanks to you. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, it will be interesting. A 2-day CitizenCon. We talked about this last week. We're gonna have to see.
Technically, all depending on when you get there and when you leave, this could be a much longer. Could be an after party. There could be a pre-party. Like you were talking about when
mine
you've
will
gone
be
in the
a
past.
week.
You've done
I will-
the bar citizens.
I believe there will be a significant thing about Squadron 42. And I say that very carefully, tinting my fingers together.
I'm trying to think. What did they do? Did they drop a date or did they drop a release for beta? I think it's got to be an actual date.
It has to be a
Or
date.
release of-
They can't.
of
They can't
chapter
do
one.
beta. You can't
That's
beta
all I'm
something
saying.
that has a story.
Well, you could.
Well, you know, they could give us like a
Just gonna
first
ruin that
chapter,
game
you know, or a first set of gameplay loop or something, and then, or not loop, but just gameplay. No, it's
for each game.
yeah, that's actually been some speculation. Is 2 day, Squadron 42 first day, and then everything in the PU second day.
Space Asteroid is like ruin everything for me. I don't care. I'll do beta, he says.
What? I mean,
Teach their own. Teach their
to
own.
play it before it's out, and it's a single player story. You can only really do so much before you give away a large chunk of it, you know? So I can't see them doing that.
So here's the thing.
A vertical slice would be, yeah. So a vertical slice is basically a point where it plays up to a certain area that's very clean, a very clean cut to the next chapter. So yeah.
I was gonna say, XE can probably back me up on this. There's 3 chapters, right? We're just getting chapter 1. If it's taken this long to get through chapter 1, I hope that if it's a release date, it's a release date with then when to expect both 2 and then 3. That would be ideal. That would be ideal.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
What time is that going to be for you? Let's see. That's so you'd have to just get up early for that. 3 single play. Well, it's 3 chapters of a single game, isn't it?
Guys.
Which that really hasn't even been really firmed up. I mean, but I think it is a logical way of cutting it up where we could get the actual game. Yeah, sequels, right? Like part 1, part 2, part 3. It's not 3 different games, but yeah, it's like 3 campaigns. That's a good way of putting it. But essentially, it could be way more than 3. What's up, Fledger? Good to see you, my friend.
Tasmania is 17 hours ahead of Los Angeles.
That's what. Oh. Yeah, that's going to be a day for you, my friend. Woo.
That's going to leave a mark.
2 of them, too. No, this is pretty good. We got Fledger from... we got literally Fledger from one side of the planet. We're in the middle, and then we got XC from the other side of the planet. That's pretty good. Yeah, 3 camp. Yeah, so it's like it's 1 game, but it's 3 campaigns. That makes more sense. Which actually, I heard it was a campaign, and then they were gonna just add more to it. I didn't hear 3 specifically, but
I've
there's
read
so
and
much
seen and heard.
speculation out there right now. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, and that's the other part too. They could absolutely change it. Their prerogative.
Yep.
They could absolutely just like, nope. We're gonna add to it. We're gonna bring John Rhys Davies back. We're gonna shoot some more.
Oh, man, it's just awesome that he's still around.
Oh,
From
man.
the original one. Yeah. From Wing Commander 3. I mean, let's like
There's
seeing him there
that
and then
great. There's that
Oh, cool.
There's that great shot of Hamill and Rhys, John Rhys Davies in a hangar, just like shaking hands. Like, and it's like there's a lot there.
Yeah, there is.
There's both time, friendship, experience, just the 2 of them in general, outside of being being characters in the game, just being actors and people.
And being in this
Great
game.
shot. Great shot. And yes, in the game.
Doesn't get better than that.
It could
Well,
if XE could come to LA.
We're just, hey, we can ask him.
Yeah, we can ask him.
It's funny that you say Antarctica is the next stop. That's just, yeah, that really does put perspective of how far down you are down there. Whew. Well, actually, why don't we do this? Why don't we have you on the show next week or week after? You do the show next week? Week after. Sorry, week after. Because I'd love to have you on for the whole show. Video and everything. We could go through a lot. You can? 2 weeks? Anytime?
I mean, if he's here now and
Yeah, no, I mean,
Still
but I mean, it's
still
just
don't
weird to
have
have a
confirm,
disembodied voice without a, you know what I mean? It just doesn't feel more like, the Philippines for a month tomorrow. All right, well, here, let's chat.
I
Let's
at
chat.
least know what
This
XE
guy.
looks like.
No, I know.
Hey,
I'm
brother,
gonna
what's
have to
going
find
on?
a press shot of him now.
Sorry.
Or can you join video?
Got the camera all packed away, ready to go, man. Got my
Oh,
bags
come
packed.
on!
Hang on. I might be able to get a webcam one set up, but it'll be all
Oh,
legit.
shit.
If you could, that'd
Give me
be
a minute.
cool. Yeah, well, here, I'll get you a little name
Just for
tag.
shits and giggles, though. For shits and giggles, you have to make sure that his webcam is upside down.
Oh, I can arrange that.
Because he's down under.
No, it is. There's been tons of stuff, and I'm sure you guys have gone through some Inforunners, which I'll be very curious to see what you've got from that, because I have not been following, I guess, things very closely. Here, I'll send you a link, and then you can join in.
I'm gonna move the camera we use for not a tuner. Do this.
That's the password right after it. So get you in here. No, because we have, I'm sure, lots to talk about. Lots of speculation talk. That's what we do here. We don't care.
We'll chat about anything.
That's right.
Well, I actually am not really too sure what I'm going to miss while I'm away. I tried to keep it here. It's going to be fairly quiet. Sorry if you can't hear me properly because I'm moving around trying to find things.
Okay.
You're
Get
right.
the camera on for you.
No, I think actually you're doing it at the perfect time because we're kind of in that drought. You've got ISC that's gone for a month. You've got just everyone, and I say this with love. Everyone's taking a vacation. Everyone's going outside. Everyone's touching grass. Everyone's breathing air. You know what I mean? Like, go look at the. Don't look at the big orange ball, but certainly go out and have fun under it.
Don't stay out too long.
There it is.
Correct.
Yeah. No, it's a good thing, right?
Absolutely. One of the cool things that came out of this week, though, was the subscriber flare ended up being coffee mugs. And it's one in the shape of the Finley the Storm Wall, another one of the actual Star Kitty, and then the other one is a Big Benny's mug. So now if you've got a Big Benny's machine, now you have a Big Benny's mug. So
You know how low fruit that is to do that stuff? Like a lot of their subscribers, like once you've worked in the industry, you just realize how low hanging fruit some of their shit is.
I enjoyed this one because it wasn't a knife, and it wasn't a beanie.
Yeah, well, a knife is just as easy to do as a mug, literally.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't even
going
care about
on?
any of that stuff, but it is unique, that's for sure. I'll give 'em that.
It is.
At least it's different. Yeah, I'll give you that.
It's different, but I still want to know where those helmets are with the blue glow hollow skull that are, inside the face mask. Where did those go? They talked about having a subflare a while back. Years at this point.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
I don't know if I'm not sure if everyone is following me on this one or not. Let me see if I can find a photo.
No, I remember what you're talking about. It was like a blue,
You
the blue
might, but
insight.
maybe chat might be a little more new. Maybe
No
it might be like,
teacups. That's a
what
good
is this,
point, Pledger. I totally forgot about that. There's no teacups that came with it. The new modder, is there a new modder or something looks new? Something looks new. No. Not that I'm aware of. But things do change like that. How's it going, Mr. Arrow? Good to see you. No, Fledger, I would go for a tea set. A Chairman's Club tea set. Can we get that?
So there's the holographic.
All right, let's have a look at this. Oh, this one. Okay, not the one I thought it was, but close enough, right? Here we go. Here we go, chat. This is what we're on about.
This is what we're kibitzing about, yes.
Kibitz. Space Astra. Space Astra, you're in the point where you just want one of everything. You're doing all right though. Yeah, these were what we're talking about. They kind of were like I thought there was the one that had like the blue glow on the inside where it lit up your face.
I think that's one of the colors. I think there's gonna obviously they're gonna change it up. I think one might be blue, one might be gold. I mean, maybe one of the other one's red. I don't know. Pick your colors.
Yeah.
Could be green.
No, it's.
Could be green.
Everybody in the verse would be wearing this, though. You know what I mean? It'd be like the bear helmets, and everybody will just have one.
Space. This was more than 4 years ago, so is it truly a Halo copy, or is it at this point what we've seen everyone sort of borrow an influence off of everyone else? So there's gonna have to be some kind of acceptance. I mean, we have an X-wing in the game. We have a TIE fighter in the game.
We do.
Tongue in cheek, Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. I think it'd be cool if you could change what the holographic image is. That would be really cool.
Oh, sure. Like a laughing skull would be like,
or a skull that actually does your voip. Foip.
or there's like maybe like a slow flame coming off, like like a slow rolling burn happening.
What you're telling me is that SC is stealing from everyone. Yes, Junior.
I don't know if that's quite the right word I would use in a legal posture.
Or what do they call that? Forceful borrowing? No.
Confabulating.
Repurposing. I think it's repurposing.
Yes, I took their idea and I revisioned it into something else.
Made it better.
Made it gooder. Yes. Yes, it's kind of like a Ghost Rider.
He did give the X-wing a turret. I mean, that is making it better. Instead of just an R2 unit that literally just sits back there and does nothing.
I just want to be a fly on the wall, like with Legal. Like, did CIG Legal call up Disney and say, "Here's what we've got"?
No.
Sue.
I don't think they asked him.
I'm just saying, like, if we go forward with this.
I think they would have weaponized the community against the Star Wars community. It could have got real ugly.
Sunday, we kind of already have laser swords. We have laser knives.
You do?
We have laser knives. Yep.
I have the red, I forget which one it is.
Yeah.
There's a gun,
2948's package goodie bag.
48, yeah, the goodie bag. Yep. It wouldn't be able to do it because it's art.
Blade.
That's true. Yeah. A knife isn't a sword. Thank you, Junior. Well said. Well said.
It's not wrong.
He's not wrong. Maybe we need. Why don't you call him up and ask for a laser sword? Maybe we'll get that at CitizenCon this year. Since they're going to release Squadron 42, and then proper time to do it.
I don't think they're releasing it. I just think they're announcing a date. For the information that I have from certain sources, speaks very different to them releasing it there.
They are or are not?
No, they're not releasing it.
Oh, okay. Tubs. 90% of the people have never designed anything for career art. Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, original ideas, right? Those are never easy.
You're a real bitch sometimes.
Yeah, can be. Oh, okay, cool. I've got that lined up. Let's do. Hold on. Let's go to number 3. Or no, sorry. Here. This should just work.
You said it out loud.
I know. I know I did. I said it out loud.
No, it's not going to. No, it's going to break.
Right. It's going to break. That's okay.
Disconnection.
That's why we do it live.
Dude.
That's why we do it live.
Knock on wood. Knock on a monitor, I think, Space Asteroid. That's more.
No, I've actually got real wood here. So that's why I've surrounded myself with wood. So I can do that.
I think there's more monitor than there is wood in there. So
no,
knock on a monitor.
These are giant workbenches, actually. So, solid wood, baby. Just for that very reason. Good after a Friday, long week. No, so what else do you think is gonna happen at CitizenCon X? Any special stuff?
Can you see me now?
I can see you over.
Oh, we can. Here, hold on. Let me get you in the show here. Copy this link.
Epic swag.
Yeah. All right.
All very jerry-rigged, mind you. I've done this in like 5 minutes. That's
Oh,
why I'm a little bit cut off on one side.
That's why it's the best way, right?
Oh, it looks from my vantage point, I'm seeing actually looks good.
Here, let's see how it looks.
It's just a camera sitting on a stick. It's not.
Oh, look at that! Look at it! It's perfect, baby. I think it's. Oh, I gotta fix your name though. It's off, a little off to the side. That's fine. You got a longer name than usual. Yeah, right. But it's not bad though.
I'm just gonna reach up. I'm gonna grab it. I'm just gonna pull it over so just that.
There we go. Yank it over there. There we go. That looks about right. Oh, that looks good. Welcome to the show, my friend. If you guys don't know, what name do you officially go by? Is it Execute, Xe?
Execute, X.
Okay.
Any
Xe
of the above?
runs Info Runners, one of the longest running shows, Star Citizen shows forever. I mean, geez, how long has it been running now?
I couldn't tell you. I think I looked recently. We're up to like 550 videos.
Woo! That's a long time. There's a long time Star Citizen. Great guy to talk to. Always knows a lot about everything and anything, and also the things that we shouldn't know about. So that's why he's here right now.
Just plug them in chat. Go over there. Throw them a follow.
Yeah, throw him a
Check out
follow.
some of
Give him.
their content.
Definitely check out Info
Ideally,
Runners.
after we're done streaming. I
Right?
think you guys want to hang out with us.
Tell us the secrets.
Not a big. I'm not a big Twitch person, really. I'm more of a YouTuber. So yeah.
Well,
It's like grotty in this. Like it's showing all the dust on my top. That's really weird. I don't know. I'm used to the 4K camera, not this. Well, it's even bouncing. I don't know if you look. If you can see it. It's just literally just sitting there. So.
There's turbulence in space, I guess.
it's bad. No, I was gonna say that it's bumpy down down on the southern equator. There's turbulence everywhere down there. Is it so frighteningly cold outside down there right now? Or is it actually
Hey
not
Google,
too bad?
what is the temperature? It's 11 degrees in Fahrenheit.
Ooh, that's chilly. That's chilly.
Yeah, it's 1.8.
Yeah, no, I wonder.
It does get below. It does get below zero here sometimes too. Some nights it goes down to like -7. So yeah.
He's not kidding when he says he's one next stop. The only next stop is Antarctica. He's down there. Woo! Yeah. Well, shorts weather in New York, right? No.
I'm going to be in shorts weather in the next couple of days because I'm going to the Philippines for 28 days. So my first holiday since I started in Forerunners. So yeah, I have not had a weekend off in over 8 years. So
Nice. Well, congrats. That's pretty nice. So, where in Philippines? Because I've been once. Manila, obviously the main city. So, and it was pretty damn awesome. But
I
where are
picked
you guys?
Cebu. So I'm
Oh,
in
okay.
Cebu, which is there's kind of like 3 main cities. There's Manila, Cebu, and then Davao across the spectrum of it. So I just kind of went smack in the middle.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a great place. It really, I mean, it's a different place. No, a lot of really nice people though. I mean, that was one of the weird, and a lot of English-speaking people actually as well, which was even more kind of just weird. It's not what you'd expect.
Kind of the reason I picked it was because of the countries that are kind of close to me that are not really westernized. It was, I won't have as much trouble navigating and things like that. So yeah.
28 days though. Damn, I'm envious. That's awesome. No, definitely eat that up. Oh, congrats on the holiday. But let's before you leave, what other speculation do we have? So Exe's not going to be able to make CitizenCon, unfortunately. But I'm sure he knows more about what's going on.
I just can't justify the cost. Like, I was talking to one of the times I talked to a morphologist about him when he went to Manchester. The last time they had it in Manchester, and he literally said it cost him $5,000 to go from Taiwan to Manchester for a day. And that's just insane to me. $5,000 is a ton of money to most people.
It is.
And you have memories after it, obviously, but you really don't have much to show for it afterwards. So I don't know. If I had to choose between LA and Manchester, I would pick Manchester just because I don't really know. Like, besides Space Tomato, I don't really know anyone in LA, so I would have to travel out of there once I got there to go visit other people. Where England's fairly small. And you can travel around it pretty quickly compared to, you can catch a train from one end to the other pretty quick. It's not quite the same in it.
Trains are far easier and far more enjoyable than driving in LA, I can tell you that.
Well, America is roughly the same size as Australia, so you're literally talking about crossing, Australia to go from LA to New York type of thing. So it's not exactly a small trip.
No, I totally get it. That's it's not short by any means. There's not a lot of trains in the States either. That's the other shitty part.
Yeah, that's for speculation. This year's been pretty low-hanging fruit because we know they are polishing Squadron 42. They're into that type of. How long that's going to take is a really good question. I do suspect that they'll be doing it into next year, with what I'm hearing in the background. I would expect. The rumors I'm hearing, right, and I say rumors because that covers people, right? But I've heard this from sources that are in the company, that it'll be Manchester CitizenCon next year that they release the game, and that it may not be at the end of the year, it may be earlier. So every CitizenCon's been in October. This may be earlier than that.
Manchester would be a hell of a way to open the office, announce the game. Like, I could see, like, bright shining star, big bow on Manchester doing that. So.
Yeah. Well, it's the one I want to go to because I think once the game's out, like most people, so say they release the game, most people go off and play the game, they won't actually kind of watch the CitizenCon type of thing. So as soon as, maybe they'll release it right at the end.
Right.
But the other thing is, I've been on this journey since it was on Kickstarter. For me, it'll be the first time the devs will actually be able to start to talk about it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want to be there for. I want to be them to talk about the journey because I've been on this journey, but it's got more and more closed off as time's gone on.
See it through.
And so I want to, I kind of want to sit there and talk to them and stuff like that. That's not to belittle anyone that joined the project last week, but for me, and Algrid too. We've both said it's a combination of a journey, and we've stressed to the people that we talk to, we really want to be there for the big one, and if they can give us a bit of a heads up. And it looks like the big one is going to be next year, not this year, from everything I'm being told anyway. And I trust the people that I talk to, so they got I've got nothing to gain from lying to me. So yeah.
No, it's more of just does it happen? Factually, because of the fact of it just got hung up for whatever reason. But no, that does make a lot of sense.
I think this year might be a bit more exciting, a bit more hype, because I think they are going to talk about Squadron 42. And if you think about it, you'll probably get more information coming out at the announcement than you will at the release, because the release will be just like, here's the game. And everyone will go off and play it. Where I think this year they're going to... I think it's clearly stated as a day for Star Citizen, a day for Squadron 42. First time we've been 2 days like that ever. And for me, it just makes the most sense. And I think we're going to see trailers. I think we are going to see, like... It's in LA for crying out loud. Why wouldn't you get Mark Hamill?
Right,
Why would...
right. Yeah, and that's where a lot of the lineup for...
Wow.
Who's the co-pilot?
I didn't even think about
Jax.
Jax? Nice.
I wonder, watch him have VIP gets meet and greet with Hamill.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they even turn up to, the studio. Whoever's in LA at the time. So you might get Mark Hamill. You might get Henry Cavill. It really depends who's going to be there. But I do firmly believe they probably signed some kind of contractory obligation with some of them to say, can you be there when we release this thing?
And so I hadn't even thought about that.
You might find some of them that are British. And Henry Cavill's British, so he might be at the
Gillian
Manchester
Anderson,
release.
Gary Oldman,
that type of thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And And so the US counterparts, do the announcement, and the British ones do the release. I think the other thing, and I had a lot of heated debate with a few people about this one. For the longest time, I thought it was going to be an LA release. Me and Algrid both did for a really long time. And then we started to see some things shifting in the background. And this is where we got the kickback, because United States people would say, but USA is the biggest population. That's where you'd want to release the game. But I think they've chosen to announce it there because that's where the most hype's going to be. But if you think about it from a developer perspective, most of them are in Frankfurt and Manchester. It is far cheaper to fly everyone in LA, that's a smaller studio, over there for the celebration than the other way around. And say it's in Frankfurt or Manchester, you just train the other to it. But everything I'm hearing is Manchester. So
the new office too definitely helped.
Yeah. Well, there's new offices in both, actually, believe it or not. So,
the new LA
bigger
office,
one,
much bigger one than Manchester.
I mean, in Frankfurt, they've got a whole building in Frankfurt. They've got like 7 floors in a building in Frankfurt. But
downtown,
yeah. And if they do another chapter, as we're talking about chapters and stuff, the next time they do a release, it's probably going to change again, because we've now got I always forget the word, Montreal coming in as well. So it really is becoming this global community, but they look like they're more likely going to be working on Star Citizen rather than Squadron 42. And most of the people already working on Squadron 42, it looks like they want 2 teams of 750 essentially.
They got to have 100 for release. They got to have 100 systems or whatever for release.
Yeah.
That was...
Well, look at the drama that happened at the end of last year. That's my biggest pet peeve, is content creators that create drama, right? But remember the napkin math? Someone was saying it was going to take 35 years, and then someone kind of corrected and made it 20. It is not going to be 20, because that they made, that was for ships, right? So this is I've heard people say it's going to take 10 years. They've taken 10 years to make one system, but that's because they don't understand they're rolling up the tools.
Well,
but they're
building the tools to build the system.
Exactly. And they literally said it took 3 guys 2.5 months to redo all of Stanton. Now, we did rough math the other day. They currently have 100 people at Montreal. If you took half of them, right, so that's 50, it basically, and they were working at the same pace, and we extended it to 3 months, right? Now, we are ruling out landing zones here, obviously, but it was basically they could do 66 systems in a year.
Yeah. That's about
so
right.
you have more people. You add that to it, and basically they can hit all 100 in a year, no problem.
Even if you pushed it out to 3 just to polish it and refine it and make sure it was done right.
Yeah,
I think we'd give them 3 years.
Well, we've been kind of contemplating for a while. What it'll probably end up being is something along the lines of more people on less systems, because then they're more refined and you can work together, rather than less people over a longer time period, because then, again, we don't, or somewhere in between. We don't think it's going to be a small number like 3. We think it's because otherwise they're all going up slowly. Because if they do them in batches, then they can release them in batches too. If you think about it.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Jump
and we
point
also
now open.
Yeah.
yeah. We're kind of expecting too that half the people will be on landing zones and the other half will be on the systems themselves, because the landing zones are the biggest component of, believe it or not, of any system. The other thing we're seeing coming down the line that you'd see with tools is they seem to be not moving away, but going into more procedurally generated systems. So remember how they said every landing zone were going to be bespoke, but we've seen in the ISCs this year that they're literally now talking about doing procedurally generated landing zones. And one of the things we're speculating is that they're going to go further and further into procedural generation, but the more and more assets you add to it and the more and more things you add to it, the bigger the library could be. And the example I gave was if they had like a landmark, right? So every landing zone might have a landing mark. And so on one landing zone, it's a statue. Another landing zone, it's a building, whatever. But if you actually made it so it's a statue, you could have multiple pieces to this statue, multiple textures to this statue. You can see very quickly how you could even make modular statues, modular buildings. And if you actually start rolling those all together, you can see very quickly how you can spread that out across, and it'll look different every single place. And and again, limit it all. And there is diminishing returns, obviously, because things will start to look the same. But I'm really interested to see how they're going to do that, because, for example, one of the biggest things that we can look at recently was the Port Olisar stuff. Now, if they'd left that ASOP terminal that Port Olisar had and left that in there, I think most people would have been fine with Seraphim. But just call it Port Olisar and leave the bespoke terminals there. I think that would have been fine, because if you actually boil down what Port Olisar is, that's the only real difference. You break it all down. That's it. Like anything that's not anywhere else, it's just that ASOP terminal that is unique. Everything else is kind of similar to other things. So I don't know. I'll put that question back to you boys. Do you think that would have been enough if they had
we
given
actually talked
every
about this all
station-
last week. We talked about it last week, and it was a really good conversation, because you're right. There are pieces and parts that are like, it's really what makes it special. But then then it's just the original nostalgia of, this was the first place we really kind of got in the full experience. You know, it was like it was that eye-opening experience. And the other big thing, and actually I'm curious what you think, is it's one of the only places that has external spawning ships on the pad. So when you walk outside, you get this grand feeling of just like, wow.
It's very flat compared to a lot of other stations. The thing is, though, they are moving away from pads. Because for one obvious reason, the spawn and land mentality versus just it appears and no one sees it. That's why. That's the only reason why hangars are superior to pads. Do I think pads have a place on the station? Absolutely. I think almost every station needs some kind of pad just for emergency landing, quick run-in, drop-off. You know, and that would be a thing. Well, even for crash landings, think about it. If you can't land in a hangar due to the way you're flying, every station would have a pad just for emergency landings. Especially in my point of view.
Eject them, just air push.
Well, you need them just so if you're trapped outside the station, how do you get in?
Right.
You know, that's one of the things I learned very early on.
Landing
the stations
doesn't work.
that didn't have pads. Yeah, it's like, my ship exploded. How do I get back in to get another one? There's no way to get in.
Yep.
So I even think, ironically, they need docking ports over the station for just pedestrians, so to speak. You know. And that's something they haven't thought of. Yeah. We need airlocks on stations, and that's the real thing. There are no airlocks on stations at all. It's really kind of weird when you think about it, run it all through. Like, it's very unspace-like in that type of place.
And I completely agree. Yeah, and the elevator thing, I feel like it really just takes away from the whole experience of feeling like you're on a station, because you could be anywhere and then take an elevator and suddenly be in a hangar. It's like, I don't know, it just doesn't have that feel. But I mean, we get it, right? You know, pads suck because you can, slam into them. But I mean, there also is the trade back. It's just like, how do you get back in? How do you just land when there's no, when you can't land because ATC isn't responding, so
you want them for landing, not for takeoff, essentially. They're more for emergency safety reasons. It'd be really cool to actually have pads that have like the medical facility at the end, so you can kind of just land for emergency. That's what I would make them myself.
Tubbs and I were just talking about this the other day, because we were coming back from something where we were clearing bunkers and we had various injuries. Tubbs, if you're still here, jump in on this. Whether you had like a chest injury, head injury, arm injury, leg injury, whatever it is, when you land at the hangar, there is the ER section. You should be able to hot foot it over to that thing and take an emergency elevator or whatever, or even treatment right there, and then be able to, either get back and take off or do whatever you got to do, or regen or whatever it is. But having to land and then like hobble all the way over to the elevator and then take the elevator over
and then
to the
med
bay, and then hobble to the to the train and then hobble again to the hospital. Yeah, like it's like this is, it can be better, and it will, but for now we got what we got.
Yeah. No,
it's You've reminded me of something else too. Like what Seraphim has done to PO is about to happen to other things. We've seen it already happen to Security Post Korea. I fully expect it's going to happen to several systems that are going to all need to be updated. So one of them, for example, you mentioned elevators, and that reminded me of Grimhex. Grimhex, just like Levski, had custom elevators we haven't seen anywhere else. And what you'll know almost every second patch, those elevators break, and that's because they are bespoke. They are not the same elevator system that all the others use. So at some point, we are going to need updated elevators that are bigger. We also know there are cargo elevators. We also know there are, from the bunkers alone, but we also know that they're going to be in the where you land in the hangars. Like, that's how your cargo is going to be delivered for you to load it onto your ship and things like that. So there is definitely a lot more elevator tech coming down the road. And when you look at Grimhex, it's so bespoke. How do you bring that up to par to be with all the other stations? Now, we know right off the bat, the obvious answer to that is Ruin Station that's in Pyro. They've already redone all that stuff. So at some point, Grimhex is going to get the Seraphim treatment. And I also think the other one that's probably the last one that I can think of, unless you guys have got another one, would also be Kovalex around Daymar. So there's still a few to go if you think about it. It's all that older stations that were around Crusader that have been there since day dot. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. I chuck that off to you guys. What do you guys think about that?
It's it's that bittersweet part where yes, they were unique and they do have to change, because you're right, it's just game mechanics, they just have to change. But I hope they come up with a system that makes it where they still do have uniqueness to certain areas. Like Levski's elevators are a part of Levski. Like, it's because of it's built into an asteroid and the way it works and the way. I hope they maintain that in some way. And like Grimhex is kind of the same way. It's like they're unique for a reason, but you're right, they have to change mechanics. They have to work. They have to work. They have to work.
Well, the one,
they have to continue to work.
So the one we were curious about is what is Grimhex, right? And we kind of thought about it. Isn't it just a station that's in a rock? So if you think of like Seraphim or any of the stations that you know, even the big ring ones and all that, really they're rooms inside an object, right? So if you change that object from a station to an asteroid, can you make procedurally generated asteroid tech that basically you build the rooms and it kind of draws the rock around the outside? And I think you can.
Oh, yeah.
It would take a little bit of R&D, but I think you could do it, right? So essentially that would then give them the ability to take any layouts and just turn it from a station into an asteroid station. That's too bad. You know, they like to reuse tech, so it makes a lot of sense. But I started to think, like, how deep can this go? Can we get an asteroid that has literally got a tube drilled through it?
Right.
And there's a city around. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
I think it's possible. It's just how far, because now you're starting to see that, well, that's taking the city tech and bringing that back onto station tech. Is there a cross-pollination between? That's one thing we haven't seen yet. We know the room tech is going to work inside buildings, right? We know that, right? But can they now take the city tech and combine that with the station tech? And I'd really like to hope that works that way, that they actually had the foresight for that. Yeah.
I'd love to see a space elevator. From planet to space.
An actual space elevator? Yeah, why not?
Imagine a city on an asteroid.
Yeah. Or on
why
the
not?
end of a space elevator.
You know? Yeah, well, literally, you could have that. You know, like, imagine you come to a planet, right, and the planet is like irradiated or some shit like that, and it's got rings around the outside. So people have just decided to live in the rings. You know, so it's just like you think of Grimhex, but it's multiple cities connected by, you know, elevator trains or whatever you want to call it.
And the fact that we maybe can build these in the future too would be even better. Back to what you were saying with the room tech, because the room tech already is generative, meaning it adds a room, it figures out what needs to be there, it figures out what can't be there. The same thing will happen with room tech for cities. So all they got to do is wrap a rock around that, which is more just, you know, generative, intelligence to be able to figure out how that works, where not to put the rock and where to put it. And they can even literally put random rocks where there's like, you know, the tube's exposed to the next rock.
Yep. City Square
Very
gets
easy
apartment
to
complex,
do.
tram stop, shops, streets.
I was on a episode of Space Tomatoes podcast, and I kind of had this epiphany where I was talking to him. I said, well, what if this is possible? And at the time, I had so many people in the comments go off at me for feature creep and stuff like that. Like, why would you want to do this? But I don't think it's that advanced.
If you're just talking about it, we're not developers, so don't You
Yeah,
can't call it feature creep.
Well, let me put it
If
this
you
way.
are
So,
dev and
yeah,
actually in charge of it, then you can say that.
here's the idea, and you tell me how ludicrous you think this sounds. So my whole thought process was, if you're having modular buildings that can kind of go up and down, so to speak, what if you could make it so that they're constructed and unconstructed, like every server reset or server wipe or whatever like that. And so basically you could put in, we know that Quanta's there and people are going to move into a system and move out of a system based on supply and demand and things like that. So could they actually scale the size of the cities?
Absolutely.
So over time, somewhere like
That
and it would
not
actually
be
build
hard to
itself
do.
out. And if it then becomes abandoned, you get all these abandoned buildings and they try and knock some of them down. Some of them get reconstituted or turned into different things. So you get things like Grim Hex happening and stuff like that. If that was all dynamic, how amazing could that be? And I think it's all possible.
We know that. Yeah.
Well, we know that they've added, if something is left for a long period of time, dirt and that will build up inside the building. So I think that is what they're going for. That they are trying to build something, a system that basically takes what they were doing with the ships, the wear and tear, and they're doing the same thing with buildings. And if you actually run this all through, it's got all the tools. So they're basically almost building everything for every scenario, every cross-pollination, and they just set it up. And this thing just makes itself and plays itself, essentially.
That's the goal. I think that really
it's
is
going to
the
be
goal.
nuts. Yeah, and that also allows into player cities, because it isn't essentially then a player city just the same thing. Instead of it being built by the AI, it's just built by us.
Exactly.
But it's the same.
Right. Maintained. There's
no
cost
different.
involved. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And if you can't maintain it and you can't keep it up to straight, then it gets dirty. It breaks down, and maybe it dissolves. Maybe it goes away. Maybe a storm comes by and it has a huge impact on it, and it just takes the whole thing out. There's a lot you can do, and you're right.
To demolish it.
Yeah, the base tech, the way they're building the systems is exactly that, a living, breathing universe. So I don't see any reason. That's a feature. I think you're right. I think they're already thinking about that. Because it does make sense. I mean, think about it. You've got a bunch of buildings that don't have anybody living. Why render them? Why make a user render? And also, why give the illusion that there's that many people there? It's like just knock them down. They reanimate them, in a way that actually makes sense, in a manner that makes sense. Where it's not just an entire neighborhood's been leveled overnight, but you know what I mean. You can do that because server refresh. Because there's going to be cases where there's going to be a city where there's maybe nobody in, or maybe a city is a small area, that maybe nobody is there. You can easily do that while it's offline essentially, or quiet essentially. But yeah, there's no reason you could do that. That'd be super. That'd be really cool. It'd be really cool if you're if you lived outside, like your high rise, and you have your skyline, and you see buildings built, and then you see one, next day's gone. Yeah, that would be kind of neat to see. Because that's life. That's how we
also
live
in construction
right
as well. So they've been constructed and different levels of wear and tear, and I think it also adds into player choice that they've talked about before. Because if we just decide we don't want to use Lawville, and we start building another one on the other side of the planet, that could become the capital. It's one of the things I've seen hinted at a few times. Like they've talked about, if we don't help Sol will get destroyed by the Vandal. We have to pick between Terror and Sol and stuff like that. So I find that really interesting, because it basically means, we could go to a planet, build a player-owned structure, and we just happen to put it in a better area than the devs did, and it just becomes really popular. So, Lawville dies as an example, and
That
New
actually
York,
happened. That happened in Eve in the first 3 months of release. They built the Citadel system, which was designed to really be the center of the universe, but it didn't make logical sense. Jeddah, which was this weird little offshoot system that had 3 connected regions, it just made sense to go. The players made that and that is the center of Eve. So it's that totally can happen, and I hope it does, because that's evolution. That's true player mechanics influencing a game in a way that is proper. I mean, that's the way it's supposed to be. Yes, roads. Yeah. Yes, we'll have roads. Don't worry, there'll be roads. That's actually one of the things the constructor, the Pioneer is supposed to be able to do, is roads.
Don't trust how you fly. Now I got to worry about how you drive.
Well, at least I'm safer on the road.
So Pioneer's changed quite a bit. It was originally a base builder. It now looks like it's turned into a factory, or what they're calling manufacturing. And I talked about this on my own stream just literally the other day. The advantage of that is, say you have a hill, You can't land a pioneer on a hill to build a building there, but you can build a building and move it to there.
Yep.
And that's why I think they've done this, because they found it's more accessible. So essentially, instead of being a mobile base builder, it's now a mobile factory. It actually makes it a lot easier because you don't have to deal with custom animations or any of that type of stuff. It just kind of makes it pops out the end, and then you pick it up and you put it in place yourself. So it's actually a lot simpler.
I just hope that the constructions resemble actual diversified buildings and structures, and not just a Ready Player One stackable, stacked out, series of, the square bases, the planetary base.
I think I think they'll have some uniqueness.
I think you want some different styles. But the other thing we've thought through a lot is, like, they talk about outposts, and outposts look very different from a city. So my whole thing is, how do I word this?
They look like outposts.
So we've talked about it is what happens when an outpost gets to a certain size, like a city in real life. And what they usually do is have some kind of foundation building, right? They've done it in other games. So you build the town hall, and that town hall then becomes the anchor point that all the roads and the city blocks are essentially built off. And what happens is the outpost basically gets upgraded, and those buildings that are there get turned into city buildings. But essentially, an outpost can be freeform and they can place it anywhere, but then a city is all gridded, if you think about it. Or it has to be conformed to a certain shape. So you might build a circular city or a triangular city or a hexagon city, depending on how you want to lay it out. You have to have shapes where and it also flattens the land around it, where an outpost probably won't do that. So essentially, you're going to have two kind of different city sizes, the smaller towns and the larger ones, unless they can because think about an outpost. You think about every outpost you've ever seen in the game, they are very free-flowy. They're not
loose,
built to grids. You
literally just drop things everywhere. No, that does make a lot of sense. So there was a conversation, I think it was at Austin, actually, when they were talking about base building. There was a something brought up about a gridded structure that you can actually run a city-like environment that had they didn't say mayor, but what I was like, kind of like you had a governance
Overseer
of some sort, and then you were able to sell plots or sell areas, and those plots were predefined. So yeah, it's definitely gonna happen. I mean, I think the only way that you can really kind of drive this forward is, you have your outposts, and then you have your actual, this is starting as a city. What I'd love to see, though, is an outpost that can turn into a city. That would be really cool. And that would be really hard.
That's what I'm saying. I think it needs to be a foundational building, and I think the people that are in the outpost should get some kind of massive discount to go into the buildings. The other part of it is, if you think of most cities, they have outposts on the outside. So how do you have an I'm sure there's someone there that's thought this all through. I'm only thinking of this as I talk about it, but like, how do you have an outpost and city? It's almost like a grid that you can put down, but that grid is free flow.
Well, one thing they could do is, like, from the outpost, they can have a span or a spar that goes out to a new city center that's established from the outpost.
Yep.
You're going to need an outpost to build, collect materials, land, but could basically be the hub for all the materials and stuff and things and people that are coming in and out of there. So, like, building like a spire off to it. Yeah, something like that.
Civilizations build from a center point, though. They don't just go, all right, so we're at this size now, we're going to now build a city over here. That turns into a city. So I actually think even when you put an outpost down, maybe that very first building upgrades over time. As the size of it changes to go with it.
Like Civ the game, or many of the other games like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And there's a reason why they do that, because it makes the most sense, because then they can plan all around it. And so basically, as that building grows, maybe it always has a free-form border around it, but as it grows, it has to have more and more grid in the center part of it. So as it grows, it pushes so maybe it just pushes the outpost out and out and out, and it's always got the outpost on the outside.
Bob's blacksmith is getting taken out when they sorry, Bob, you have to move a couple blocks down. But no, very, very legit. Victoria, you had something to mention?
I was going to say, at the end of this, we're all going to be now logisticians, insurance experts, and now civil engineers.
And now civil engineers. That's right.
Not even kidding. That could be a job, like planning the layout of cities. That really could be a thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That's actually probably the biggest excitement for me in this game is like, and I bring back the Eve reference because it did kind of bring all of those sort of things that you didn't think you'd be doing in a game, but then you found your way actually really enjoying them. Is doing that city planning. Think about how things are the best way. Where's the best place to put one? What's the what's the best things you should be trading in out of there? How can you make it profitable? How can you there's so much involved in that. How do you hype it up? Who's your your hype master for getting people to come in? Like there's going to be so many roles.
Do you allow them to run power? Do you allow them to run water and sewage?
I think you should.
Do you know what I mean? And you're going to plan all that? Like that's nuts.
Oh, God,
someone will be into that. You know,
yes.
You were the sewer worker for this week. You have got to deal with all the shit. You know, like
you got to deal with shit. Literally.
Yeah.
I need to get this shit out of the ceiling out of the city. No, but isn't that part of what makes it so unique and so? Because I think again. I think they're already thinking of this. They already have a lot of, because if you're gonna go to 11, you might as well just keep going, right? I mean, and I think there's no shortage of ideas. There's no shortage of budget. There's no shortage of people to work on things. So let's think about it now before it's in the first day of production. That way you build it in a way that it can be grown on and it can be built on, and you're not have to go back and shit, we got to burn this whole thing down and start over again. You don't want to do that. You've got the time. We're already in a really long development cycle. Take the fucking time, do it right. So yeah, I feel like these tools are the hardest part, but it's going to be the most rewarding, easily by a long shot. So
it's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Space Asteroid's asking about hunting.
Oh, I don't know.
Hunting
Depends on what you want to hunt.
people.
No, he's talking about hunting creatures, and I do think that's going to be a thing. I think farming is going to be a thing too. The hardest part of it is farming animals. I think they've gone into farming plants before. Well, think about it. Farming a plant, the plant just spawns there and it kind of stays there and grows over time. An animal has to have AI and it has to move around. It has to have a life cycle like the characters. I do think we eventually will get it, but it's a lot more complicated. So I think you'll see people that farm animals and plants. I think you're far more likely, if you're going out to hunt a creature, that it is not going to be like a herd of antelope or gazelles or something like that, because that's got to have herd mechanics and all that type of stuff. But it's far more likely to be something like the arboreal stalker, which is a one-off. Yeah. An
apex predator of some sort. Or some sort of
exactly. Because
something that's going to potentially kill you.
Rare resource that's worth a lot of money, but it takes you a long time to hunt and work together with other people and take out.
High risk reward.
That's again, there is certain physics to games development. Like there's a reason why they're sharding the tech. Like when they were trying to talk about one big massive world, I'm like, not going to work. Look at Eve. Like Eve is essentially a spreadsheet because it is trying to be one server in one world, and they have to slow everything down to get that game to work.
Yep.
Right? Because, with the number of people they have. So there's no way they were going to pull this off in the same fashion. It was always going to go into shards. And it'll be better for it, a better experience for the players.
I think that actually the 100 system thing, the more systems they have, it will be better, because of the reason is there will only be one system shard or one version of that system, because there's not going to be that many people in it, which is great. So like being able to spread it out, being able to eliminate or at least lower these giant population centers. But I mean, that's going to be the grand appeal. It's always the grand appeal. Is go there, show off your tricked out ship, your whatever, your cool, whatever you just killed and you're wearing it on your back. It's like you're going to still have to deal with that. So, which is why the elevators exist. I mean, you guys know that's why it exists. It's not because you got to be able to put people in spaces and boxes and let OCS do its job. That's the whole concept behind it. But that doesn't mean that certain areas have to be that way. There's going to be those not so busy outline posts and things that are going to be neat to do and go and experience, but they're not going to be the place where everyone's going to be at. So
The other idea I'd heard someone say a long time ago, and I don't think it's going to go this way anymore, is wouldn't it be interesting, like, you know, you've basically got Earth and you've got Terra, is we've essentially got Europe, USA, and then kind of Australia are the three kind of main servers we had for a really long time, is what if there'd actually been different parts of the universe? And so basically, if you want to go, like, for example, they made Earth America and Terra Europe, you know, and if you want to go to Terra, you have to go play on the European server or Shard.
That would actually be pretty.
It would have been
neat.
interesting.
That would be, yeah. I mean, there is technology that Amazon has that can bring sub 30 milliseconds to the entire world, and that is from Chicago to Australia, because they have these. They're starting to build these. Well, they're not hyperlinks. They're basically they're point to points that have so few points between them, but they're just between Amazon data centers. So they're designed just for they're actually designed for stock trading and some other stuff. So it's like, if they built this right, you can get 30 milliseconds back to the core, cores talking to cores. You do the math, you can make this work. It's a matter of, is the technology available to them to use, and does it work in the first place? But less hops means higher speed. But light travels, go 52 times around the Earth. So it's like, it can do it, and data does work in that fashion. It's usually about 7 times around the world, but it's a lot less. But still, it's possible. It's just a matter of what's going to be leveraged to use. So, but that's why I love this game. Is every time we talk about it, something else changes and it gets a little bit better. But does it work? And then it's like, I'm okay with that learning as we go thing. It's just we got to get somewhere to make it all work the first time. And if it doesn't work, then where's our line that we start with, and then where do we go from there? So that, and I feel like they're still figuring that out, which is kind of bothersome, because that is the core of the game. Mr. Arrow said it before. I was like, there's no server meshing, there's no core server concept, and what are we going to do until then? Until that works, because it will work one day. Somebody will do it, whether it's in this game or not. Somebody will do it. Somebody will get 1 million players in the same place at the same time, and it's going to be livable. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of who's going to do it. So, and I think this game has the best chance of doing it. It's just a matter of what are they limited by? Because, Amazon may not just give that up. So it's going to be really interesting. That is a core part of the game, and yeah, shards would really make things not what we were expecting. So I'm going to be very curious to see how this turns out. But I think Squadron 42 coming out will be a big hit for a lot of reasons. But the day 2 or day 1, whatever is dedicated to what is next in the game, is going to be really interesting in LA. And I hope they figure things out by then.
Are you expecting Squadron first or Star Citizen first? If they were to do both, I'm almost thinking they've got to lead with Squadron, because they're going to lead with Squadron. Because people won't turn up. Because most people turn up for Star Citizen. That's just kind of how it is. So
I personally don't follow Squadron 42. I don't want to follow Squadron 42. I want it to be as new as humanly possible when it comes out and I can actually play it. I don't want to know anything about it. I know it's going to be awesome no matter what. Like, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great sequel. I mean, look at Wing Commander 3, 4, Prophecy, all those. Those were all really great games. I mean, and they did not have the budget, the technology, or any of those stuff. So you figure it's got to be great at a bare minimum. So I'm not concerned with it. What I am concerned with is getting the first version out, so then they can say, okay, we put our line in the sand there. Now we're going to actually start to apply that technology forward to the PU. And that is the only thing I really care about, because you're going to play a single player game once, and that's it for me. I don't know about you guys, but like, I rarely have the time to play a single player game more than once. Nor do I have the desire to do it.
Different strokes for different folks. I think the other part of it, though, for me, that's always concerned me with this project is just dev burnout. We're seeing that a lot, I think the latest example was the Banner Menschman guy. He just got a better offer, tried to hold that over CIG, and then moved on, So now they've got to train all these new people how to make Banner stuff. You know, and in my time, and I'm sure in your guys' time, multiple devs have come and gone. You know,
Oh, yeah. Many.
And it's why one of the reasons why the project has taken so long, because it's so big, but it's because most people can't get through it. You know, Jeremiah, the concept artist, he moved on recently, and he'd been there for 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, he's just like, I've been here for 10 years. Normally, you work on a game for 3-4 years and you move on. Right, that's the kind of what the cycle they're used to, and this thing's just breaking all that mold, you know. And some of the guys that are there now that have been there 10 years, they're not going to leave. They're going to stay there, and this will be their forever game. This is their last thing they're ever going to work on. They were probably vets when they started, and now they've been here. You know, they probably worked for 15 years or so before they started, and now they're just like, nah, I'm just going to stay here. I'll be here to the day I retire, type of thing. And I can tell you right now, that's the case for Chris. Like, this will be the last thing he does, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's really the crowning achievement if you look at what he does. But I mean, yeah, you're right. It's a lot of the people that are there now that have been there for a long time. Yeah, I could totally see this being their coup d'etat, their last hurrah, and that's it. Because it is such a mega project that has just broken so many molds. And it's good, and it's also torturous because, like, you know, I feel there are quite a few people that are there that maybe didn't think it was going to go this long, and they were ready to retire maybe 3-4 years ago. So, interesting to see. Yeah,
I think the staff burnout is the biggest reason why this has taken as long as it has.
Yeah,
having to retrain people is not a simple process. And I'm sure there's probably plenty of people that watch Star Citizen content, even in their own profession, that goes to. It's one of the things here in Australia. They hate doing training, like, you know, apprenticeships. There are not apprenticeships are not a. You know, in the States, like, you guys have internships, I think you guys call them, and they're unpaid interns, and they work for a couple of years, and then they get a job at the company. That's not even a thing here. They don't do that. You got to pay every single person, right? So they just don't do that type of stuff. So rather than there's these industries that are just dying because they refuse to pay people to train them up. They expect you to have like it's really common even in the game industry. They're like, you must have a ship game, you must have worked for 3 years in the industry, or they won't even look at your resume. And it's like, but how do I get 3 years experience and get a ship game if no one will give me my first chance?
Yeah,
it's the age-old dilemma.
Yeah, well, every job that I've ever had has required either a master's degree or, and I have a college. I don't have a college education. I have a high school education. So, and it's never stopped. You know, you got to bend somewhere, and sometimes it's the self-starter thing. But I can tell you from hiring recently, especially in the last few years, not a lot of self-starters out there. So, yeah, training is brutal. The other big thing is with that, and something I can relate to personally is a lot of times is you're the guy that started, or the gal that started it, that wrote that started the process, and you never documented it. You never even, it's like, and it's gone through 10,000 iterations in your head. How do you transfer that to paper? I think that is another problem, because like when they do have to replace somebody, how do they even just get that person to transfer what they even said, like did into some sort of paper or digital form that lets them train the next person? That, you know, because like person leaves, that's gone. That's a void. You can't just go ask them. So no, that is a great.
So what you're saying is we need the tech from the Matrix, so you can just put the disc in and
just
rather than having to train these pathetic humans.
Chris Roberts and Elon Musk are getting what's Elon Musk's brain thingy they used? That's happening. No, I don't know, but you're right.
I know.
No, it's a huge struggle, because it is, like I said, it's 10 year plus project. It's wasn't supposed to do this, but it's working. It's just learning and working and growing and learning and working, and every time they learn, it hurts. But you know, they're still learning, and they're taking one step back and 2 steps forward. It's just taking a lot of 1 step backs, which, you know, costs
one of
time.
Chris's daughters was like 2 when this started. You know, there's someone I met. that I'm good friends with, Sir Piggles. He's one of the guys that works through the SE League stuff, and he backed the game when he was 12. He's now like 22, 23 or something. Like it's like literally half a lifetime ago. Like it's just crazy to me. Like it makes me feel old as shit, but like it just shows you that there are literally people that were not born when this game's. Do you know what I mean? They'll be playing this game, and they weren't born when it started development. That just blows my mind.
Well, there was a guy that I knew
crazy.
that backed the day his daughter was born, and it's like, yeah, that's gonna really start to feel old.
Yeah,
I mean,
I brought her an account as a joke, and now she actually doesn't play it.
Yeah, and it's like you feel like, but yeah, I mean, that is kind of
good things take time though. You guys know that as well, and half this development, as we said earlier, has been those tools, and I think like it might not look like there's much content now, but the time they've taken with those tools is just going to absolutely bear so much fruit. It will come out fairly quickly. It'll come out a lot more polished, and I also think the thing from a money perspective. Put it this way, they approach Disney and go, we would like to make you a Star Wars game. You know, like bang, and then 3-4 years from now, not only do we have Star Citizen, but we have the Force of whatever. You know what I mean? Like Star Wars: The Great Republic, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Sorry.
I think they've made a larger case.
Don't start to screw with me, all right, man.
I think it'll go to
You can
Star
do it.
Trek before it goes to Star Wars.
Well, you can do Star Wars, Star Trek, Stargate, like any universe you can possibly think. And the way the tech works, we were even talking about Battlefield. Imagine a Battlefield game that's just Earth.
Yeah.
The entire map is Earth.
Exactly. Yeah. The tech is very reusable. Yeah, the tech is very reusable. And that is, so you're right. Yeah, like once they get that stamp of version 1 and they can resell that or use it to build something in-house that's a new game, yeah, absolutely, which is its own, they're not going to be using CIG people for that. It's gonna be because this starts training. It's a set of tools. It's a way to use it. You can bring it, Disney can bring their own team in and use it and pay to use it. And that's only going to make Star Citizen better. So yeah, you're absolutely right, and that is actually the reason I started to back when I heard the Kickstarter. Was like, holy shit, if they pull this off, none of this technology, like 30% of what they need to make this work exists right now. So they're gonna have to make the other 70%, and like 20% of that 70% is really freaking hard. Like, I don't even know how they would do that. Like, I can fathom how to do it, but it's so yeah, you're right. I mean, like when they do get that 1.0, they're definitely gonna be able to resell this.
There's two answers to that. The first one is the people at Frankfurt coming on board. That really changed a lot. That brought in a lot more people that had the expertise of the Crytek engine. And for me, the biggest appeal was the no publisher. People can carry on like the cows come home about feature creep, but most of publishers will not give people the time for R&D. They'll go, so if you look at most games, they generally work on a rule of thirds. So they go a third new, a third exactly the same, and a third modified. That's why they make a sequel, right? But if you look at a generally new game, the best games that we see, so like the ones that come out of ID Software, Valve, even the original Halo series and stuff like that, their release dates were when it's done. When I hear a when it's done date, I generally can tell that game is going to be good in most cases, right? When it comes from a studio that you know, right? When it comes out and they go, this will be out by this date, I get very nervous. Because it's like, that means they're rushing. It means they're trying to hit a date.
Well, they're under pressure to make it work. Yeah.
And you never do. No one ever does well when they're under pressure. No one. Like, do you want your brain surgeon to be under pressure? No, I don't. That type of thing. Like, so just
No, that isn't. I mean, we've talked about this a number of times, and that is the single point of the reason why I have complete faith in what they're doing is because they're not under that gun. They're not under a publisher's gun. They're building this because, and it was a great video. It was put out about probably 4 or 5 years ago. It was, I think it was was Todd Pappy, or I can't remember who it was, but he's like, this is an amazing dev cycle. This is an amazing way to build a game. He goes, we build a piece or a part of the game, and then we give it to the community, and we get instant feedback, and then we make it better, and then we make it better, and then we try another piece, and then we do integration of those pieces, and then that it really is that way because, and it's a 10-year life cycle. I don't seriously care if it goes another 5 to 10 years. I mean, I'm gonna knock on wood on that, but at the same time, it's like, hi Zero or Jasmine. But no, I mean, like, it's okay with me because I know it's gonna be done right. I know it's gonna be, done with the right level of somebody sitting in their chair just doing development. I'm like, no, we can't do it that way because it doesn't work, or the players aren't gonna like this. Somebody's gonna be in CIG saying that, and it's gonna be another week or two or a month or whatever, and it's going to be for a good reason, and I'm fine with that because I've got time, but at the same time it's like, yeah, I want it tomorrow, but I understand it. And the no publisher thing is the single reason why I'm most excited about this. That and the fact that, like I said, 10 years ago when they were talking about things that you can't do, and I know I'm in tech. I know what governments have done already that are pretty astronomically crazy, and like even that tech is still not public yet, and it's still not as astronomical what they're talking about. So it's super cool to see them kind of do this. They're like kind of like the SpaceX of software development, They're just kind of like, try it out. Oh, it exploded. Okay. Well, let's try this. Yeah. Oh, it was a bigger explosion. But it got further. And it's like that's the sort of thing that I love to see. So it's that's why I believe in it. And that's a great point. Those are two really good points about that. So for me, a gamer, when I'm saying, hey, when I'll never retire. I'll be like my grandfather. I'll be working doing something just because gotta stay busy. But yeah, maybe it'll be I'm a lifetime Star Citizen player, who knows, but I'm good with that. those are really great points. Yeah, it's exciting to see like every corner, so that's actually why I'm really excited about CitizenCon, because I was actually talking to Xylo, and he's like CitizenCon, it's gonna be something different. It's gonna be crazy. And I was like, okay, so what's crazy in your mind? He's like, you're gonna see what you didn't expect. And I was like, okay, that sounds like a social media guy telling me something. He's like, no, really. I was like, all right. And
all right, well, let's go with his line. What would you expect? Because the line they use, and I'll have to go find it. I actually borrowed it for a title of one of our episodes. Hang on, just give me 2 seconds. Because it was a pretty dramatic line. It was. Give me a second.
Now I'm curious. Can I buy CIG stock before CitizenCon hits? Unfortunately, no, not publicly traded. If it was, I would probably own stock in it.
Unforgettable journey beyond an imagination.
Which takes two really interesting earlier, say, like Imagine and the journey part from Manchester. Interesting. I have not heard that. Where was that stated?
Yeah. It was when they were the tickets for Squadron 42 went up. So if you go onto their website, I'm sure you could find it. Where they were selling the tickets and stuff. Yeah.
That is cool. I did not hear that, but yeah, it's and you know what? That actually could give the 2-day theory of Squadron 42 and PU1. That does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, so when they say beyond imagination, me and Agard were like, oh, I can imagine a lot.
Is this just an Apple pitch, or they actually mean it?
Yeah. So like, like.
Well, I mean, what I would expect is obviously a massive, wrap up progress report of what's happened, and then what it's triggered for the future, and where we're, what is the next thing with a date. That's the what I would think would be the expected. I would also like to see.
I don't think they'll give a date. I think they'll just say I think the closest you'll get is like winter, or
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
2024. I don't think you'll get the whole, whole shebang.
2024. So December 31st. Yeah, I'm fine with that. And so, no, I mean, like, I hate dates, So like I'm in software development, and it's like I'm directly connected to a lot of our customers, and they ask, hey, when's that going to be fixed? When's this release coming out? It's like I hate giving dates, and I hate even talking about features because now you got to kind of tell them when it's coming, and it does suck. And you're right, the whole pressure thing's there. So I'm okay with soon or very soon or next year or Q3 even, but I don't want it to be. I don't want them again to feel that pressure to really to screw with the people that are actually doing with the work. Because those are the people that you're really that I really kind of relate to is the people. Oh shit, we got to get this done by Q3, just like we're just talking about. So, but I think what your point was when you were saying earlier about they're potentially going to be able to release the game before CitizenCon, but maybe wait until that breather period, I think is a great idea. Do you think that actually will happen? They'll release it before CitizenCon?
I'll just say this. I think it'll be at CitizenCon. I think when they're done, they'll probably set the date for CitizenCon. But basically, from what I'm hearing, I would expect anywhere from April to October next year.
That sounds like that aligns with a lot. I definitely would agree with that. I feel like it's very close. And the chapter 1 kind of first version, first mission set, first campaign, whatever, is very realistic for LA.
So the other thing I want to say is I've heard talkings of a world tour that Chris will go around and visit everywhere. So
that would be very cool.
Before release, so yeah.
That would give him plenty of time.
Yeah. So I think LA might be the kickoff for that. So LA may be the kickoff for that or whatever. But yeah, to that effect that they're gonna visit everywhere and.
It makes the bar citizens good recon to figure out what communities work best, turnout, placement.
So what you're saying is we're gonna get Chris at Equinox next year. That's what it sounds like.
It could be.
Hey, we can ask him.
Could be wherever. But yeah.
Jake, Galactica, you're welcome back anytime.
That's right. Hey, maybe Tyler will stop by this time.
Jake got very sloshed. I heard.
He had a great time.
He was very warm and welcoming. Both nights, actually.
Yes.
Mainly the night of the bar citizen. Yes, he got very warm.
he was in his element, and if you've never met Jake, I hope that you one day get a chance to. The kid, I say kid, he's the right guy in the right job at the right time, doing what he's doing, man. Like
I'll say that. Oh, I'd agree with that.
I've had discussions with Jake, but only on Discord. So yeah, but I've talked with him verbally, so to speak. But yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he is.
Not the gal isn't. Not because Galactica is great. And
Gal can come back anytime she wants.
haven't had any contact with her yet, but yeah.
She's pleasure. She's a pleasure. But no, that is and that would be very cool to see as a whirlwind Chris tour the game launch. That would be very cool because I feel like, and I don't know if it's true, but I definitely feel like it's probably true. Is Chris kind of got really, the 10 years. It's like, and the growth of the company and how big it's gotten is like he's really kind of gotten shuffled down and away from a lot of things, but he's still there. But it's like his passion originally at the Kickstarter was what a lot of us are gonna see through. It's like we don't care. We're gonna see it through. So
I wish
seeing
we
him
could see
during
more
that would be awesome. Yeah. Well,
I wish we could see more. Like, I remember the 10 for the chairman. I mean, the coming out of the room for 1 or 2 days a year to me doesn't do it. Like, I wish he was just around more, I guess.
Do you know what caused all that?
There's
a cause and effect.
Okay, sure.
I can. So basically, I think it was 2017, 2018. They got down to $8 million left in the piggy bank, and they reached out to that family, and they got a loan of $45 million that was then increased later to I think 56 or 45 or something like that.
Something like that.
But when they got that loan, one of the conditions was that a board was made for management.
An actual board.
Yeah, a board, and so basically, they have members of that board, but Chris and Sandy are the minority on that board, and they get overruled on a lot of things. It's really clear, and you can even if you just go back and look at ISC content, total flow of information, the board hits and it's just totally trimmed, like because they didn't want them feature creeping and just promising new things all the time. And so basically, that's what's happened. That's really where the tap got turned off. You know, we had some of the driest years after 2017, and that's all stemmed from that. That's the biggest mistake, in my opinion, that he ever did was take a loan from those guys. Because the funny thing is, ironically, the very next year, COVID hit, and they had record levels of funding that they never had before. They didn't need the loan. That's the crazy thing. And they sold off 10% of the company. Those people are that family is going to make an absolute fucking killing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they got that at a steal. They probably got, I don't know, like $1 billion worth of stuff for 50 million. I got no idea. But that, you know, if that company grow already, why do you reckon they extended their investment?
The first time they sell the engine, or, you know, the whatever this things end up really called, yeah, that's when they're really going to cash
the licensing. Yeah.
Well, they had a one-time chance to extend, and they had to extend within a 3-year period. They extended within 12 months. So that tells you straight away, like, they did it very quickly.
They knew what they were doing.
Extended. Yeah, because they saw where this was going. They're like, this is going to sell like hotcakes, you know. And having 10% of that, they probably got that, I don't know, like for 10% of what they was real, you know, they're going to make a shit ton of it. And like you said too, like if we'd been able to invest in this game rather than just buy the spaceships, I totally would have done that because I believed in the project, and I reckon you would have been the same too.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen the prospectus.
Yeah. No, you know, and then you know, Space Asteroid talks about stock. It's like, could you imagine if they made it a publicly traded company?
Yeah.
I mean, just think about how many fucking shares they would sell overnight. Because, you know, then you actually could own a piece of the game, you know? Like, that inflation index would be astronomical for the first month. But, you know, if you wrote it right.
That'd probably be the best way to do it. Buy in and then literally sell off fairly quickly.
Because you could, I mean, if you think about it, it could actually give the way of players to actually own a piece of something that they really believe in. Which, you know, me, that's why I buy a lot of the ships and a lot of stuff, is because I do believe in it. I do want a sports project. Yeah, I'm getting something cool out of it, but it would be, I'm also, you know, trader as well. And it's like, that would be very cool to own a piece of it in that way. So, but, you know, it does add a severe level of complexity. And volatility, really. So I don't know what their stance on it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it just would have been nice to see Chris come back for 10 minutes every 90 days and just say hi. You know, like,
I don't agree. I don't disagree at all.
Trust me when I say they want to. I'll leave it at that.
They do. They really do. Yeah, and
they really do.
It was funny because, like, in Manchester, I had a couple of conversations with various CIG people, and it was a very different feel from Austin. And I actually talked to two of the same people, and you could tell the tune had changed. And it was, I feel like they feel like it's now it's business, you know, and it's like, that there's no passion in that, and that really kind of struck me wrong. And I kind of came back from Manchester a bit bothered. You know, and I didn't want to Seco that, and then COVID hit, and then it was like, now I'm not gonna see these people for a while, and then they canceled CitizenCon, they canceled, you know, it was just like, I really wanted to get back to talk, so that's actually what LA is gonna be chaotic, but I'm actually kind of glad it's 2 days, and I'm gonna be volunteering, so hopefully I'll have a lot of chance to catch up with some of the people I used to talk to, if they're still
volunteering
there.
At the CitizenCons is always like, we did the Australian one here. It was really good.
It's special.
I had more fun volunteering than actually like watching the event, so to speak.
I do too. And I will say this, and I say this every time about volunteering, is like getting to work with that team that's so passionate and really, really well done. I mean, they know what they're doing. They get it done. And like when they run into an issue, the way they do issue resolution is very much the way I do it. It's like, yeah, we've got a problem. What do you have? It may not be the perfect solution, but just bring something. And then somebody brings out something, and then they talk about it, and then they execute, and they're done, and they go, and they move forward. You know, it's like, it's so great to work with people like that. I love that feeling of being a part of that, because now you're actually literally helping the game get released by making CitizenCon awesome. So yeah, I'll volunteer every opportunity I can.
And maybe the next one. This is my first one. I want to go and enjoy it and check it all out. Maybe when they do Austin, maybe I'll volunteer in Austin.
The thing is though, like you still get to watch the show and all that when you do the volunteering stuff. So you kind of see a little bit behind the curtain. That's
a lot behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the Kraken model. There's only 8 people that are allowed to see it. You're one of them. Okay, you have to make sure that the only 8 people. Yeah, I'm sure more than 8 people have seen this model. But I mean, that's kind of, you know, like those are the little things. Or putting together the Dragonfly in Austin was like, wow, this is really, like, you can ride this. Like, this thing actually works. Does it actually hover, JR? No, it doesn't hover. Come on, JR. You know, just being able to, when they're watching you you're unboxing this thing, and you don't even know what it is yet because you haven't asked, but you're just helping. And yeah, those little moments are really cool. Or, yeah, you just, I don't know. And yeah, some of it's strenuous and some of it's hard, and you end up staying up late, but whatever, you know, that's the point. Yeah, Space Hatcher take lots of pictures.
It's definitely growing year on year though. Like the first CitizenCon was like in an amphitheater, and now it's like a full convention center, and they have booths and stalls and all that type of thing.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Are we going to see like 3,000 to 5,000? Are we going to see 10,000? Like,
it'll be
it really
at least,
depends. Yeah.
Convention center space, I think, can hold 39,000, but that's in whatever configuration. So I'm just trying to figure out with breakout sessions, main hall, and then walk around space, merchandise stops, food court area, everything else. Like, I'm gonna ballpark anywhere between 5 and 7.
Yeah,
it's probably gonna be upwards of 10, I would think.
Yeah, I don't think they'll fill the whole space, but I definitely, yeah.
No, I don't think they want to fill the whole space. That's a lot to fill. But the one thing that, you know, I did actually notice is I think there was a whole lot more VIP tickets sold than what many think. Because I've now talked to at least 17 to 20 people that have had them. And
I think you'd only get 100 to 200 tickets.
Yeah.
I don't think it was. I reckon it'll only be like 200 for
I think it was at least,
you can't think that,
at least 200.
Yeah. The LA studio is very small. They are not going to let people back near the computers and stuff. That food area that they have would only hold 100.
But they have a new office now. They have a new office in LA. That's what I was told. New space. So I don't.
All right. Maybe that's right. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's moved significantly further out, and it's bigger. I don't know what it looks like, but who knows? I mean, maybe that's a show-off thing that they're gonna do. But I'm guessing at least 200. I'm thinking more around 300-400, to be honest. And I bet you there's gonna be upwards of 8,000 people there. Is what I'm guessing. I'm still trying to find out what they've actually rented. So that will tell us, because we'll go by the 10% theory and see what, because 10% space people, then what will fill the space is the other 30 to 40. So we'll see. It will be interesting, but I would imagine it's going to be. I mean, the way that's been talked up from the people that I've talked to at CIG, they're saying it's mega, it's amazing, it's going to be over the top, and it makes sense. It's 3 years off. It's LA. You're right. We're lining up really nicely. Yeah, we're lining up nicely for Squadron 42. So, yeah,
if they use the word over the top,
I would love to see the big actors there.
Yeah.
So that would be very cool. Unexpected, but still very cool. So, but So any last kind of things about CitizenCon that expected, hopefully, would love to see, think of the astronomical model? Like, what do we think, because like traditionally there's some sort of model. Are we thinking cap ship? Are we thinking new cap
Bring
ship?
on my Anvil capital ship.
I'm hearing.
What is
I've been hearing things about a big ship coming, but I've been hearing the Amble capital ship for like the last 6 years now. So
or at least, at least 3 years since Manchester. I can say that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think we're due for a bigger ship. I think it definitely will only be a concept. But again, like when they did the Kraken, I'd totally expect something like from JR Fabrications or something like that would be kind of cool to have there again. But again, this year has been very low-hanging fruit. Invictus has been the most lowest representative ships they've ever seen. Like, there was no ship with a warp drive for sale. 2 vehicles and a snub. Like, that is the lowest offering I've ever seen them offer.
Yeah. It's definitely underwhelming this year.
And I think we're in for more of the same if some of the leaks are to be believed. Like, we're getting a Fury LX, which is just a racing variant. When's that due? CitizenCon, CitizenCon or AIE. We've got the Spirit series, so that's probably going to be one of the biggest ship releases of the year, and the Santaki Eye. So that's the 3 things on the card at the moment. We don't really have anything else that's lined up to come out that we know about anyway.
If they drop Spirit, then they've got to be able to drop VIP or NPC travel. That's got to be. They will not release the E1. The other thing that's coming out from the roadmap is that it's the C1 and the A1. Are the 2 that are being worked on. E1 is very obviously what they were targeting for VIP gameplay. And if you look at VIP gameplay, when I say VIP, I also mean like personnel, because there seems to be different levels now. So the E1 itself. Yeah, E1 stands for executive, so it's essentially business class. Then you've got the 890 jump and the 400i and the 600i. They're all kind of like VIP, but then you've also got the Genesis Starliner. So you've got 3 different levels of AI and interactions and the way they work with the player and stuff like that. So they're different test beds. 600's still getting reworked, so...
Yep. Again. So they're going to have the ships before they get the AI to walk around them at the very least. So if you get an E1 in any turn of phrase, it'll literally just be a ship you can fly. It's going to be absolutely kind of useless. Kind of like the 890 jump at the moment. There's not a lot you can really do in it. So if they do release the E1, well, it's going to be the same thing. There's just not a lot that you can do with it at the moment. It's one of the reasons why I've complained about Origin so much. They just need to do more. They just don't do enough.
I would completely agree.
I do think there is. Well, this is where me and the Yacht Club butt heads a lot, right? They think I hate Origin. I just want Origin to do more, right? For their value. They charge you a lot for that premium. Well, where's the gameplay to go with it? It just doesn't exist. And for me, I think what we may end up getting. From things I've been hearing behind the scenes, we know that fashion is a big thing, and we know shop ships are coming. I think we might get an Origin shop ship that basically, because we know you'll be able to put your own shops in. So imagine a high-end, like for example, if you have shops at different levels, right? So you could have a Drake shop ship, and it basically is like mechanics, Dumpers Depot, think that. But then you go the other high end where you've got high end fashion, high end dining, but also you can have dining that's just like a McDonald's or a Whammy Burger type of thing, right? So I actually think they will have different shops at different price points. And I'm expecting a shop ship from Origin. I think it makes a lot of sense. And it lines up with that whole VIP thing as well, because they're going to want a shop that comes to their house, so to speak, and delivers them the goods. That's what a VIP pulls. Yeah, so I think that's the one other profession we may get from Origin. I've sat here for a long time and tried to
find purpose.
Go through with our grid. well, what else can you put under a high luxury brand? Shops.
You're gonna have to see, and to go with me on this one, guys. This is gonna be a little bit of a thread. Apparelli. It'll be a culmination of Origin working with Apparelli, and maybe how we have some of the faces of the companies beginning to take shape. Maybe we see a Garrick type Apparelli Elon Musk, as it were, working their way through the pipeline. Just like we have for the Consolidated Outland guy, who's like the Elon Musk of that.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll begin to see, these NPC characters begin to.
They really don't have a figurehead. You're right. Origin doesn't have a figurehead. That's a good point. I think that leaves a lot for opportunity, because you're right, because that could bring those professions out.
Begins to pull the universe together a little more, making it a little bit more tangible. Not fully, but just a little bit more.
I think the figureheads in those lore actually make for me a lot of sense for the game itself, because you start to relate kind of that persona.
Some companies don't have figureheads though; they just have a board, or they're faceless. So Origin might just be faceless. You know what I mean?
Like Ferrari, yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be, but it used to be Enzo Ferrari. Now it's more corporate. So yeah, I get it. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it could have been started by someone, and they've since passed, and it's now just become a corporate entity.
well, like Yorm is in our in the lore as the racer who built this special drive and then some other things, and then he faded away, and now the company's more corporate. So yeah, but it's still it has his name on it though, so I guess it's a little different then. But no, like Consolidated Outline, that's a great. Didn't even think of that.
So much different lore. Like Anvil basically came out of a company called Jace Aerospace.
Yep.
But Jace doesn't exist anymore. The guy died in I think it was a mining accident in the end.
Yeah.
And he designed all this really cool shit, and they actually went back and went into things that he'd been working on and released them. And I'm trying to think of the one off the top of my head, but one of them is actually an older thing that he never ended up releasing.
Oh really?
But
I remember the Jace story. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hurricane's one of his. I think not the Hornet. It's the older Anvil stuff. Is basically all his shit. And there was even a guy that the guy that worked at Grey Cat. I think that was a chick actually. She built the Grey Cat as a vehicle for mines, to go through mines. And when they were building it at the factory, they found that they were so much fun, and so they just released a normal version of it. And that's how things like the STV and all that came about, because they were basically they all came off the Grey Cat. So yeah. But I only know this because of...
You wouldn't think the Grey Cat is a mining vehicle and how low it is, but no, a re-released, version for everyone. That does make sense.
Yeah. Well, it was designed to get out of mines because they were faster than on foot, but they needed something small enough to go through like human.
I just remember jumping them in the hangar through the hoops and into the barrels. No, that is like I love I really miss Lore Makers guys at the Galaxy originally when it first came out with the first two people that did it. That was so good. It was so enjoyable to watch, because you really felt like you had like two people that really loved the lore and knew the lore and read the lore, like they almost wrote it, which I thought was really enjoyable. I really hope they get back to that, and because I want to. So like, there's a lot of things, and I again relate to Eve because it does have a lot of these cool things that were started, but I don't think they were finished. And one of the cool things that you can come across in Eve is you're just randomly salvaging a location and you find this note, and sometimes the note actually means something, and if you can figure it out, it leads you to a complex, or it leads you to. I hope that sort of thing where like you read something and you're like, I read this in a lore, or I remember this in a lore, and you can go and like search it and look at the Galactopedia and see it, and then like go and like, I hope that sort of stuff happens, because like that is the epitome of exploration. I love exploration. So sticky notes on the wall, exactly. Like there's little notes and things that like when I go through a station or something, I read everything. I want to see like every little where that pencil laid, where that why does that, and I'm like thinking of all that. And I know most of it's probably totally irrelevant, but I want someday for that, like, oh, that teddy bear is over there, and it's actually got it's like I want to be able to just I can pick that up, or I want that to be something, and the lore is such a core part of that. Being able to go back to it and search for it and look for it and draw those pieces together, I think it'd be really fun. So that's what I'm looking. That's one of the many things I'm looking for, because I'm want to get lost, you know? I just want to get lost and wander around sometime, you know? That's like one of the biggest things I'm looking forward to. Finding that thing that nobody found yet. And that's exciting. Yeah. A true explorer, yeah. Because I'm very vagrant when it's coming. Yeah, not so much treasure hunting, but finding treasure. You know what I mean? It's like you're not looking for something that's expensive and worth it to sell, but you're looking for something that's truly a treasure. A first-time experience for you as a player.
I think we found that here, Shadow.
Yeah, it's great. We're supposed to have Buster on, then Execute steps in. I feel like this is really turning into something. We got something special. So,
it's the best ship in the game.
Yeah.
What's the best ship in the game?
Okay. All right. Yeah. Look, actually, what is your current favorite, and what's your current hopeful? Like, what's your most hopeful ship that you hope is the best that you're expecting?
I'm a big fan of the Reclaimer. It's something well, if you literally go into Hangar Link into their thing, they've actually got a skin there they made for me for that.
Nice.
But I am looking forward a lot to the Polaris. First real proper big ship we've got, I think, personally. I know the 890 Jump kind of has that role at the moment, but it's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, same.
Banner Merchantman's another good one, but that's obviously on hold for the moment. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of good ships coming forward. I'm more of an industrial. Like I'm really good at first-person shooters, right? But I'm generally way more interested in this game for the industrial stuff. Way more
what you
than,
can do, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well,
how
I've
you
played,
can do it.
Yeah, everyone's played Call of Duty and Counter-Strike and all that, and I'm kind of just a bit burnt on that shit. And I'm sure we'll get the younger kids that come through that want to be mercenaries and all that, and maybe tying it all together will make it that much more refreshed. But it's that new shit that you just don't see in games every day. You know, like you don't look at mining that we've got already. Now that's already more in-depth mining that I've seen in almost any other game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. And we're getting more of it. We're getting salvage and all the other professions that are going to come into that. This thing is just insane. It's just nuts, and it's just.
Yeah, it's like
I just can't see this game being huge. I just can't, like, because of the quality of it and the way where it's at already. You know, it's already very, very good as it is, but it's just building and building on that. And again, once they can get in there and actually roll what's behind the curtain out, and a lot of that can't be rolled out because they just don't have server meshing. Because building quests that are just going to be redone is pointless. That's why the quests are so mundane right now, because they half-assed it because they're doing shit in the background. I'm sure they've got shitloads of quests ready to go, but they just can't work because server meshing's not out yet. So, see.
Yeah, and that's actually and something to kind of go back to when we were talking about the tools being developed is, those first 4 or 5 years, they were just figuring out how to even start to build the tools, because you have to really think through all of the possibilities, and then you got to really think to the end, or at least where you can see until, and think about how the tool's going to work for that.
That's the thing that shits me a little bit, is how they say this game's been in development for 10 years. If you remember, and I'm sure you do, it took them 12 months just to move into the Texas studio after the kicked off, right? So for me, the development really didn't kick off to 2014. So it did. It
really did.
Next year is 10 years for me. It's one of the things I hated. I still think one of the reasons why there's so much bad press about this is that, you look at a company like EA, if you shit on their Madden game, well, they won't let you review FIFA. If you shit on CIG's Star Citizen, well, that's all they've got. So you can just keep shitting on it till the cows come home. And and because that's all they've got, when it releases, they're going to still need you to help them. So there's just no. You can put out these massive, big clickbaity titles. There's no repercussions for it, because they need to get paid, and that's the problem with modern journalism. It's not about the story. It's about making a title and a thumbnail and a narrative, so people will click on your videos. And you've only got to go to YouTube, and instead of looking at what the subjects are, try and look at the thumbnails and say, what is the emotion they are trying to elicit out of me? And you can very quickly see what they're trying to do. Generally, they're trying to make you pissed off or angry or something like that. So you'll watch the video.
Yep.
And engage and leave a comment and leave a thumbs up or a thumbs down or subscribe or pay them or
anything. Click on it. That's all they.
Because that's what it's all about. Money makes the world go round,
baby.
Yeah. And YouTube and Twitch have set themselves up that way because that's basically like, if you don't make us money, we won't put your videos forward. And you can be the most creative person in the world and everyone loves you, right? But they won't put your videos forward. That's what we didn't monetize our channel for ages, right? But what we realized was our views were going down. We couldn't figure out why. And it was because YouTube were not putting the videos forward because we weren't making them money. It's just that simple. If you don't play their game, they won't put you forward. So we just do the bare minimum and we still get views, but that's why our channel is not like as big as Morphologist or Board Gamer or something like that, because we don't super push the monetization stuff. And we only do one video a week, you know. You get Mr. Board Gamer, love him dearly, but he does 7 videos a week. And he told me he wants to get up to 3 a day. Well, good luck with that, because it's just not enough content to do that. But like, you know, you can... It's just not sustainable.
Yeah,
and even when the game comes out, it's not going to be sustainable. You just can't make there's just not enough game to make the content for that. And that's why you get a lot of the content creators manufacturing drama and trying to make a big deal of nothing, because
you don't say.
I've never seen a point in that. I mean, for them it works and what have you, but I don't
well,
know.
it works because people get pissed off and you go into the comments and you just read straight away, are you guys idiots? This is like being disproven 25 times. And it's like,
no, you're the moron.
You took the moron. Yeah.
You took the bait. Yeah. You're there. You took the bait.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those are the guys I don't watch or
I'll make money other ways. No, and that's what reason why we do this show is because it's just this show. It's just us talking about it. I don't care who watches it. I love the people that come in and interact with it. I love the guests that we have on. It's just as real as it gets, you know. And a lot of the guests that we have on are people that have been here for a very long time following it and are, you know, they've maybe even been through phases themselves, you know. It's like, I know I have, you know. It's like, I don't think I've ever had a down phase, but at the same time, it's just, you know, I understand it. I know what they're going through. I've been in development. I'm in development. I've worked the technology side. I worked the IT side. I understand the business side. I understand the financial side. So it's like, yeah, they're up against a lot, and the fact that they're still plowing through and making, you know, things count. I mean, until the end, you know, and I can't wait to see what it is. So, but it is very exciting to talk about, especially with, you know, people like yourself and some of the other people we've spoken to in the last few weeks. Is just, it's going to be big. CitizenCon's going to be big this year. And the thing that it sets up for the next year is going to be even bigger. So, like, Pyro was a big thing coming out of Manchester, but, like, there was a lot of us that were like, it ain't going to happen yet. You know,
I think they're pushing for that this year, to be honest. I think they're trying to get a static Pyro.
But like Pyro 3 years ago?
Static
Pyro in Manchester?
We had 4 years of... We had 4 years of Pyro, so I think it's about time we actually get Pyro. And they said that we would get static meshing before dynamic.
Right.
And we've even seen in the last couple of weeks they're doing server tests for 200 people at once.
Yep.
And I think that's leaning towards static testing. But we'll see. I could be completely, utterly off the mark and wrong.
No. I can tell you now. I think I could say this now. Is we were supposed to get 200 player servers for Equinox, but we ended up not needing them, so it was never pushed. So, but we were going to be one of the first tests to do that. So it was kind of neat. But again, we had to cut it back due to losing some space. But next year, you know, could be totally different. So. That was one of the things I was hoping to say. That and launching the MSR at JRDF MSR at the. But we just missed that one.
Yeah, I'm just reading what Space Asteroid said there. He said, what if they release Pyro instead of Squadron 42? They're not releasing Squadron 42 this year. It'll be next year for sure. Everything points towards that. But yeah, definitely Pyro could be a thing. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Time, though.
So
Hope Citizen
with the
Con
amount
picks
of
up where they're entering Pyro.
yeah, no. I mean, literally, you can make like a back alley exit that is pyro that goes in the middle of LA. It would be very accurate. It's just saying. LA is not a friendly place. Anyway, no. One thing I do want to, I'm hoping that they do is the LAN. Because wouldn't it be cool if they launched, Pyro day 1 and then we get to play it all day 2. That would be super cool. Because that's the reason why we do Equinox is it's a giant LAN party, because every Citizen Con I've ever gone to is like, hey, man, I wish I could be playing Star Citizen right now. It's like, that's the whole point of Equinox, is you can the entire time play Equinox, play Star Citizen. So I'm hoping it is available to play, and maybe even beta test as a or early test as one of the volunteers like we usually do. So it's very possible. I don't see why not. The player increase, the server increase of players is a big part of that, because of the spread, because they have to currently have to do a concurrent player base, even though it is 2 different systems, which is still a little weird, but I get it, because if all 200 players suddenly went to one side, then you need to be able to support it. So it's going to be a big one. Very exciting to figure out what's going to be going on. So actually, so you're coming back in a month, I definitely would love to line up to have you on the show, like coming up to Citizen Con. What's the latest? You're always a great person to talk to.
We'll sit there and we'll leave his guesses as benchbenchmarks.
Yes,
as we go in.
we could,
and then we can all rally back together. On the other end.
We do that a lot. Because it's always fun, the speculation train, speculation citizen, as we called it for the one show. But no, I mean those sort of, where is it at now? Where would it be then? Is always exciting to kind of bring back. Hey, Doc Frost, how's it going? Good to see you, my friend. No, the just being able to reel back and kind of go over those things that we thought were going to happen, and talking about what will, and then obviously the after show because that is even more interesting, because where were we right, where were we wrong? That would be even more interesting. Hey, Doc, we had Buster the Destroyer lined up. She had to obviously had something come up, and Mr. Execute just stepped right in. So it's another typical day at the bar. Bring your questions. We're talking mainly about Citizen Con. We've kind of gone off in some other directions, but it's been a great show. We're starting to think about wrapping it up, because I've actually got to get going. But no, I mean, like, having you back on.
I've got to finish packing my bags.
You got an early flight. Well, actually, what is it? It's probably late evening for you, or early evening.
No, it's about 2:15
a.m.
afternoon here. But
okay.
PM. And then I'm actually flying to Sydney tomorrow. I'm going to hang out with Argrid for the day, and
very cool.
And then I think about 7. I got to be at the airport by 7:30 in the morning. I fly out about 10 o'clock in the morning to the Philippines.
Not too bad at all.
Takes all day to get there. Takes about 12 hours to get there. So
yeah. It's not a short flight. You're literally going from one pole to the equator. You're down there.
over the equator. Literally.
Over the equator. You're right. Yeah.
So it's kind of half a world away, literally, type of thing. But just I'm going north to south, not east to west or whatever. So
yeah. No, that's I actually. Now you got me thinking I want to go back, because I actually really enjoyed my time there. It was over 20 years ago. So I'm actually very curious to see how much it's changed.
We need to talk about that off air quite a bit. You'll have more fun as an older guy than you will as a younger guy.
Well, I'm 46. I was 20 something then. So, but maybe I will. That's fine with me. No, I would love to because it's just one of those really unique countries. That are.
I've never been, but I've been studying there since before COVID. So and talking with people there and that for that amount of time. So I just thought it was about time I went and took a look for myself. So yeah.
I went there to go help was doing DR work, DR next day business continuance work, and then we were also setting up a US call center. Oh, don't walk across the soundboard. Okay. All right, we're good. And I decided to stay another
like lay on the keyboard.
she literally stepped on the one button that doesn't matter. So we're good. That was fun. But no, I went over to set up like this call center and do data center analysis and DR preparation. And I had the guy I was working with, he's like, I'm gonna stay another like 6 days. And I was like, well, what's there to do around? He's like, just stay for a couple days. I stayed for like 4, maybe 5 days. Totally worth it. Was just really, I mean, the fact that they're English speaking is just mostly English speaking, at least, or at least, you know, will tolerate you. It's very cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're very hardworking people, and great place. Great place. I hope you really enjoy it.
Days. They start at like 7 a.m. and work through to 7 p.m. They work 6 days a week. They get 1 day off a week. That's crazy.
So we actually so for the call center, we had people that were coming from a village that was like 3 villages away, literally crossing rivers, like literally walking thick running rivers, and like they told us some of it, and I was like, really? And then like that third day I was kind of free. I went out and went with the guy on his trip. I can't believe what they do to go to work. It's like they literally like a grandpa that like, we walked 20 miles through, you know, deep snow. They really do that. It's crazy, but they're very, you know, again, just diligent, do their thing, and they do a great job. And yeah, it was a great place for a call center.
A lot of them have electricity to their houses, but they don't have like electric stoves and stuff. So they still use like wood fire stoves and stuff. Because it's cheaper. Yeah, crazy.
It is neat though. It's a different world. I know you. I know you'll enjoy it.
They're definitely they're third world. So I don't know. 28 days. A lot of people think I'm crazy because I'm gone for so long, but I don't know. I needed a break.
Live it up.
That's a break.
Let's see what it's all about. Nothing says you got to stay there either. You can always do a little travel around and see what's
There's
up.
plenty to see. Yeah, the little boats that they run around on a lot of the rivers and stuff are really neat. Definitely highly suggest that. I took a boat ride. I don't know what they call them.
So I'm probably gonna I'm gonna hate it because I'm not a heat person at all. So yeah, I'm kind of torturing myself a little bit. We'll see.
28 days, you'll be ready to come home.
Probably be ready in 5, let alone 28.
Well, yeah, I get that way just because I'm. It's the disconnect from technology, you know. I'm like, I'm usually doing stuff.
I don't like being disconnected for it initially, and I'm definitely like I've been playing my games this week to make sure because I know I'm not going to be around them for a month. But I always feel so much better when I do get away from it, believe it or not. My vision gets better, you know, a whole bunch of things like that. You'd be surprised. Like, you come back and you look at a computer monitor, and it's like, what the hell? I can make out pixels. What the hell's wrong with my eyes? You know, like, because your vision's got...
Yeah.
Well, have a great time. Do have a safe
absolutely.
trip. Come back to us.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you and see you and talk with you again. This was
great.
No,
I would love to get you like a month before CitizenCon, kind of loop back, you know, get some fun little toying speculation. I'll actually know a lot more about what I'm volunteering and what I'm doing by then, so it could be interesting. I can leverage my position maybe a little bit, so see what I can shake out
until the end.
Yeah, I really should plan. And see, I'd love to have someone there that streams out, and so there's like a home and away type situation. I love someone on the floor that would be willing to stream out. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to Paul or Space Tomato because they're both going to be there, and they can stream it out, and we can.
And people would actually watch. Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, we'll be the host at home asking the questions and with the audience, and they can be there showing things off to us. That'd be kind of cool.
I think they did mention something about having something set up for streamers, kind of like a not TwitchCon kind of setup, but you know, like streaming area. where they can at least do interviews and things like that.
They've been asking for it. So
Oh yeah, yeah, since Austin. I know that. That would be a great idea. So CIG, write that one down. But no, we're gonna find a raid target. We're definitely gonna tune out. Anybody? Any targets? Neo Fox. You know what? Let's target Neo Fox because we want to get him on the show.
You gotta talk to him anyways, yeah. Yeah,
we gotta talk to him anyway. So Neo Fox is a great guy. Good. He's actually doing Star Citizen tonight too, so that's very cool. We're gonna go over there and raid him. We're gonna have him on the show probably pretty soon. But no, Execute, thanks so much for dropping in. Literally dropping in. Enjoy the vacation.
Always great to see you.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, thank you for your content because it's great stuff when you want to learn something about what you're trying to, because I do a lot of research and like I'll come across InfoRunners content and I love that because it's like, oh, well, I know this is going to be good, whether it's completely objective or not what I expect, but at the same time, it's good deep thought and it's always good to bounce off of. So guys, highly suggest definitely check out InfoRunners and a lot of the stuff because you have other projects and stuff that you work with too, right?
No, not really.
I thought there was at least one other. You were doing something with. I'm terrible with names. Doing something else. That could be somebody else. I don't know. No, but I mean, InfoRunners.
My only channel is InfoRunners, and all I do is Star Citizen. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. I know you're only Star Citizen. But I thought you were working on something else. But no, that's again, InfoRunners, just long time show. Great content. Highly suggested. You guys check that out. We've linked it in chat. But yeah, we'll definitely have Execute Bat. Yeah.
Old man Hurston. Our regards.
Who, Neo? All right, we're going to flip over here to raid. We're going to set this up. When you guys get over there, definitely make a bunch of noise for Neo Fox. When you get over there, dropping some of these. We're going to be doing a couple giveaways next week because I missed the last few. But Mr. XU, thanks so much again. Have a great time. Any closing arguments?
No, thank you for having me. Thanks for letting me drop in unannounced, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
You always have a chair.
Yes, exactly, and that is the point too, is because that's how we do it here. I can bring anybody in, so it was good to be able to drop you straight in and have that flow real nice, especially since you're running away for 28 days. Don't get lost. Make sure you come back to us.
That's right.
Make sure you have your emergency beacon set up where we know where to find you. So we can hunt you down and come rescue.
63 million kilometers away.
Right? And he's only offering 10,000? What the hell? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will catch you guys next week. I'll be definitely back Friday, but I'm trying to pick up streaming again Wednesday, Thursday, doing some other stuff. Usually Star Citizen, but other things. Again, thank you so much, Victoria. Again, as my co-host as usual, Execute. Great to have you. And we will see you guys on the flip side. I'm going to set the raid target now. So when you get over there, make a bunch of noise. We will see you next week. Thank you and good night.